I do believe there's something out there. I don't know how, I don't know where. It's incomprehensible, isn't
But you
it?
believe there's like, we go somewhere after.
But if you believe that there's a God, then you believe there's something. So if there's something, why shouldn't you believe that there's something else? Despite the fact that I eat super clean, and I exercise like crazy, I've always had this thing that I want to be slimmer. I've got an athletic disposition. I've always wanted to be a bit leaner, and it just doesn't really happen. So I'm constantly fighting that. I'm like, oh, if there's a chance that this will work, then I'm going to do it.
What is the secret to 25 years of marriage? Selma and I have 11 in October.
Friendship, I would say. And always make sure you make time for each other.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Why Are You Here with me, Abby Ribeiro. Today, my guest is Lisa Longhurst. She's been a friend of mine for the last 10 years. She is the owner of the Pilates studio called the Pilates Room here in Lagos, Portugal, which was one of the original Pilates studios here in Lagos. She's been living here for 15 years. She is a wife. She is a mom of 2. She is so much fun to talk to. I absolutely love talking to her. And we talk about so many things today. We go a little deep. We talk about some spiritual things. We talk about fitness. We talk about life. We talk about diets. We talk about everything. And then we also talk about, of course, why is she here? So enjoy this episode. And here we go. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Abby.
Welcome to the podcast.
You. Thank you for having me.
I am so happy you're here. In your intro, I was saying that we have known each other for over 10 years.
No, it must be 15 years.
Is it 15 years?
Yeah.
Well, I've been here for 15 and you've been here for 15.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think we met each other before I started coming to the Pilates studio, but I started going to your studio over 10 years ago.
Yes. Yeah. When you were pregnant with Arlo.
Who is turning 9. So
yeah, it must be 10 years ago. We've known each other very well.
Very well for 10 years. Yeah, exactly. And I'm so excited because you are one of my favorite people to talk to in general, and let alone about, all your wisdom. You're very wise, Lisa. I'm very excited to share all your wisdom.
Oh, I wish I were wise, Abby. I don't think
everyone's about to hear how wise you really are.
Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can be wise.
Yeah. Well, obviously, the podcast is called Why Are You Here? So I like to start with a little bit of like where you're from, your background, a little bit of that. So where are you? I know you're from the UK, but where exactly in the UK are you from?
So I was born in the Midlands in Birmingham, but I never actually really lived there because my dad was in the army. So I actually spent, and which I suppose is probably what's made me end up moving ultimately. But we never really lived in the same place for more than 2 to 3 years when I was growing up. So we lived in Northern Ireland. We lived in Germany. I actually spent 8 years of my childhood in Germany.
Do you speak German?
Ein bisschen, ja.
I got nothing for you.
I'm much better at German when I've had a few drinks.
Aren't we all?
But I did GCSE German, so that's up to I was 16, and then obviously living there. So I feel I hear German better than I hear other languages.
So you lived in Germany. Where else did you live?
So we lived in Northern Ireland. We lived on the southwest coast of England. We lived on the Welsh-English border. We lived in east of England in a place called Maidstone. I mean, we literally lived all kind of.
Did you have a favorite?
Over the place. Not really. I loved living in Germany, to be honest with you. I loved living there because I was 16, and obviously when you're 16 in Germany, you can drink beer and wine. Right. So my party days started in Germany when I was 16.
Yeah, that must have been fun. I actually never knew that about you, that you traveled so much. I obviously knew your dad was in the army, but I didn't know that you had traveled so much around. Yeah. But that also must be why you get along with everybody. You talk to everybody, you get along with everybody because you've always had to.
Also, which I don't know whether you know this, but my mum was the youngest of 14 children.
You did tell me this a long time ago. Yes.
So I think that is partly, we used to have huge family gatherings and stuff. So I reckon that's kind of part of the reason. And also I went to boarding school.
Right.
So because my dad was in the army, I went to boarding school when I was almost 10 years old, which is a
Really? That's young.
yeah, really young.
Yeah.
And I've always said that I loved it, and I did love it, and that it was a really good thing that I did it, and it's made me really independent. And I think it also made me, like, when you're at boarding school, you're with a real mix of people. Like, I mean, I was with politicians, children, and actually, yeah, like Ozzy Osbourne's son went to my school. So it's just like there's a real range of people. And then at the weekend, I would go home to my mum's family that were from a really working class family. So I was dealing with like people of all sorts, and people with all sorts of ambitions, I suppose, from small to big ambitions. And so I think that's always given me a sense of empathy, maybe, for other people.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now I've got children of my own. Like when my daughter got to 9, 10, I just thought, oh my goodness, like she's way too young to go to boarding school. And bear in mind, my parents lived in Germany. So I was in school in England. And then it was pretty expensive to fly. And my parents were on an army salary. So I was 13 weeks without seeing my family.
Oh my God. That must have been so difficult though for your parents, for your mom especially.
Yeah,
she must have missed you so much.
Yeah, she found it really, really hard.
Did she do it to give you some consistency, or was it?
It was definitely, it was all about education and getting consistency in education, because we were moving around every 2 years.
Right.
So after boarding school, I took a year out.
Okay.
I actually didn't get the results I wanted to get in my A levels. So I ended up just taking a year out, and I worked, and actually that began the next chapter in many ways, because I worked for this tech company called Stratacom, which was based where my parents lived at the time. And then I went to university, and the guy that I'd worked for, he then took me on, basically, as he lived in the US, he lived in Boston.
Oh, okay.
And he took me on to look after his kids in the summer.
Oh, nice.
For 2 years. So I was like a summer nanny
in Boston.
Got to see Cape Cod and all those lovely places that you know.
Boston's beautiful.
Yeah. And then I went to work for that same company in my placement year.
Okay.
Because I then ended up doing a business studies degree. And when I left university, I went back to that company. They took me on again. And then they were acquired by a company called Cisco Systems, which everybody now knows Cisco Systems. Back then it wasn't a household name, but now, of course, it is. And so I was really lucky. Worked there for a couple of years. And then the same bunch of techies that were from Silicon Valley that had started up this company called Stratacom, they set up a company called Juniper Networks. Okay. So I was part of the initial 7 that started Juniper Networks in Europe. And at the time, I was very young. I was like 25 at the time. And they were all much more grown up than me. So they were all in sales, and they were all the sales and techie guys. And I was kind of the jack of all trades. I did all the marketing, like dealt with all the PR companies. I dealt with all the manufacturing in the US. I just did a bit of everything.
And were you working at that time out of Europe or out of the US?
Out of Europe.
Okay.
Yeah. So in a little place called Leatherhead, which is where I bought my first house.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. So that moment of not passing my.
I was just going to say that. Well,
I did pass, but I didn't get the results I wanted.
Right.
But that moment was like the changing doors moment, where I then stepped into this whole different career world, because I thought I was going to be a teacher.
Really?
I thought I was going to be.
Well, you are a teacher, technically.
And I am a teacher now. Yeah, so it's weird how it turns out. But yeah, I thought I was going to go in to be an English and drama teacher for primary school children.
But if you, I mean, that's crazy, because if you hadn't gotten, I don't want to say, I was going to say not poor grades, but the grades not high enough as you wanted to get where you wanted to go, it ended up actually working out.
It ended up working out really well.
Yeah.
And I think, and that's what I try and tell my children now, because it doesn't actually, it's what you make of the situation. It's not actually where you think you want your situation to go.
I know. I feel like also when you get a no, like, you get a no, so to speak, in quotes, but somebody says no or somebody doesn't let you through the door, sometimes it's because like something else is maybe better for you. Something coming that's better, but not
I think
yet.
there's always something better around the corner.
Specifically for you. Maybe that just wasn't what it was meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big believer in fate in some ways. When you start thinking about somebody and then the next moment they'll walk around the corner.
I know that does happen.
It does happen a lot. And we think it's coincidence, and it probably is coincidence, but maybe it's not. Maybe we're all meant to be going in a certain direction.
I don't know. I have my whole like I have a whole constant back and forth in my own head about that where I'm like, is it all like predestined and we're meant to meet this person at this time and do this? And then sometimes I'm like, maybe it's just one big coincidence. I don't know. I go back and forth constantly.
Or maybe we're just making it happen if we really want it.
Yeah, probably that more than anything.
The power, what is it? The power of yes.
There's
There's that whole,
and also the whole manifestation of manifesting what you want for your life and what you want in the world, and kind of manifesting it in your brain to believe it could happen.
Yeah. I hope that's true.
I hope that's true as well.
Somebody we love is up there just looking out for us.
Yeah. I think that's
also a really nice thing.
I like to believe that that's true.
Yeah, I do too. When you lose someone really close to you, you want them to be around, don't you? Of course you do. You don't want them to be gone forever.
Course, yeah.
And but this weird thing. So my dad was in a commando regiment called 5-9, and my dad was in the Falklands War, and so he went to war with 5-9, and it was kind of something that was a real big part of his army career, obviously. And when a few years ago we were in Thailand on holiday, and we were in a car, and everyone was arguing about how much their phone needed charging. You know how everybody wants their phone to be on maximum charge during the holiday. And I said, "What's your phone at, Noah?" And he said, 59%. And I went, "My phone's at 59%." Anyway, Lily's phone was also at 59%, which I thought was a bit weird.
That is
anyway,
weird.
And it was 5-9. That night, I'd obviously charged my phone between this, and that night I woke up, and every time I woke up the next few nights, my phone was at 59% charged. And then weird stuff has started happening with 50. I see, and I don't know whether it's because I'm now more aware of it, but I see 5-9 everywhere.
Do you think it was always there, or do you think it's something that only since your dad passed?
But I honestly now believe that it's my dad out there saying, "Hey."
Yeah, just dropping by. Yeah.
Yeah. Or
letting you know I'm here.
Yeah. I really do. And because of that, I actually saw a spirit guide.
You did?
Yeah. A guy on like a WhatsApp video spirit guide. And it was a recommendation from a friend who'd also lost her father at the same time as I'd lost my dad.
But a spirit guide is like a medium?
No. Yeah. Okay. So, and some of the things that he told me he would never know, and some of the things that he's said have since come true.
You're kidding.
I do believe there's something out there. I don't know how, I don't know where. It's incomprehensible, isn't it?
But you believe there's like, we go somewhere after it, basically.
Yeah, I hope we do.
I hope we do as well.
And
I don't know.
It makes me feel less scared anyway.
Yeah.
That's
true.
And it gives me a bit of hope that maybe there's more for us coming.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope
that's quite deep already.
I know, but I really no, but it's funny that you say that, because this is only recently been on my mind. Just not that I've ever spoken. I'm not talking about it with anyone, not talking about it with my husband, nobody, but just something that I've been like, can I get like some sort of like sign or something? Because because I was raised Catholic, like, Catholic, and it's anti-religious, anti-Catholic. You can't go see a medium. Like, you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to do that. And I've never done it.
Even as a Christian, it's not considered a thing to do.
Advised, to do. You really shouldn't.
But if you believe that there's a God, then you believe there's something. So if there's something, why shouldn't you believe that there's something else?
But I feel like I'm like that I'm in that phase of so my parents are my mom, I should say, is very, very Catholic, true believer, regularly prays for my soul, as she tells me, and all the time, because I'm in a phase where I went to all girls Catholic school. I did all of that, but I'm just in a phase where I'm going through like a questioning everything phase in life. I think everyone goes through that. I hope everyone goes through that.
Totally.
I'm in it right now. I'm like questioning everything. I'm like, but
And what else is there? What else is there for you? Also, Abby, you've got 3 children now, and I also I've gone through this and also entering a new phase. But I think we give everything to our husbands and our children and even our parents, and then you start not doing the things that you used to do that define you as a person, and so you start to forget who you are.
That's true.
And I also, when your children then start now, like I know that my children are getting to the point where they're definitely getting more independent, but they're going to leave, and then I've got to decide who I am again.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's just a phase also, like a phase that you're in where you, like you said, I've given up everything that defines
and also
yourself.
Starting to get older. Like, I mean, you're not.
I'm not older.
You're not quite so old as me.
You're not old.
Despite the fact that I eat super clean, and I exercise like crazy, and I've always had this thing that I want to be slimmer.
Well, every woman in the world has that.
Wants to be slimmer.
Every woman in the world wants to be slimmer.
But I think because I've got an athletic disposition.
You are literally like a ball of muscle, Lisa. You're insane.
And so I've always wanted to be a bit leaner, and it just doesn't really happen. And I think the older I've got, and I think what I don't talk about that much to people that don't know me is that I've got a thyroid issue.
Okay.
And so with that comes various things. And of course, your metabolism isn't working to its full potential when you've got a thyroid problem. And so I'm constantly fighting that. I'm like, oh, if there's a chance that this will work, then I'm going to do it. And whenever I do something, I go in with everything I've got and do it. So if you told me that I had to eat something really bizarre, I mean, I can eat anything that if you tell me it's good for me. Like if something tastes like cardboard, if you told me that in 3 days time I'm going to have more energy, I'm going to feel amazing, I'm going to my shoulders are going to be less broad, I will.
You love like a biohack.
I will do it.
Anything biohacked, you'll do it.
Exactly.
Anything.
Yeah.
I heard this story about the 2 actresses in that show, and the one convinced the other one that she was drinking her own urine.
Yeah.
To get better. She wasn't really, but she was trying to convince her.
Do that.
No, but the other one was like, I'm really worried about her, but she was just totally like messing with her.
So I will. I will try anything, and
and it's always, the grass is always greener.
Yes, it's true.
Some of us are working hard to have more muscle.
Yeah,
and you get it overnight.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, besides like wanting to kind of look picture perfect, which I probably need to start accepting, like just my own destiny a little bit more. I do feel strong, and I feel well, and I feel like I get up in the morning and I'm not kind of creaking to get out of bed at 51.
No, and you're super. You're going away on holiday with your kids.
Yeah,
bike like cycling and mopeds and doing all this crazy stuff you wouldn't be able to do otherwise.
No, totally. I suppose the older I'm getting as well, it's all becoming about trying to keep more mobile, stay fit, stay healthy, keep everything ticking along. There's certain things I do really believe in. So I do acupuncture, which I really, really believe in that. I go to see a chiropractor every 6 weeks because I'm working with my body all the time, and also like because I'm adjusting people, I'm bending over, I'm picking up equipment. I just think it's important to keep everything in balance.
Your body is your business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then I do Pilates for myself twice a week. And more recently, I have started doing more weights. And I have started to learn to run again. I had stopped running because of my knees. So that's been really nice. I've enjoyed that. So there's just a few things that I really do believe in. And I think probably I just need to chill out a bit more.
Don't we all? Yeah. Are you craving real, authentic pizza in Lagos? Skip the tourist traps and head to the Pizza Garage. I can honestly say it is our favorite pizza. Selma, myself, the kids, we go every Thursday. We love it so much. I can't tell you how good this pizza is, first of all. My son, who doesn't like cheese, can get pizza without cheese. We can have any pizza we want. We can add our toppings. The specials are always on fire. It's so good. And honestly, any Italian, you can eat your heart out. Try it. I guarantee you it's the best pizza you've ever had in Lagos. You've tried the rest. Now try the best. I'm going to enjoy the Pizza Garage. Okay, so I have to go back and ask you, because I know that was it after university or before, you were in California for a while as an au pair?
So actually...
That's where Pilates started, right?
Yes, that's where Pilates started. But when I went to California, it was a little bit later. So I did the au pairing during my university summers. And then the same guy who I'd worked for then, he owned an avocado farm in California, and he wanted somebody to go and run events there. And he also was involved in various businesses. And it was also at the time where the tech market wasn't doing very well. And so it was a good opportunity for me to come out of that and just try something different for a couple of years. And so Tom, my husband, and I moved there for 2 years.
Yeah, because you had already met Tom back in the UK.
And we just got married, literally a month before we moved.
And he went to California with you for this job.
Yeah, and our 2 dogs.
And your dogs went to California?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then they moved here.
And then it was a whole journey. Yeah.
They were pretty well traveled, but
yeah.
So the working for him, that's really when I discovered Pilates. I really discovered it because I went looking for a yoga studio because I had never heard of Pilates. That was back in 2002. So it was Pilates in the UK was very new. It wasn't really very much out there. And so I went to look for a yoga studio because I wanted to stretch out my back a little bit more. And I was starting to feel like I was creaking a bit.
Yeah.
And I came upon a Pilates studio.
And you just tried it?
Yeah, tried it, loved it. And then, of course, did it 4 times a week.
Of course.
And then decided when we left California, I was like, right, I need to do more of this. And then when I got back to the UK, I tried a Pilates class in my local village hall and walked out crying because we basically just tilted our pelvis, did round the clocks with our pelvis, and
it wasn't as intense as
little
the
bit
American
of breathing,
one.
and it wasn't as intense as what I'd been used to.
Right.
So I found a studio in London. And actually, I'm still friends with my teacher back then, Amit, who took me through the program that everybody in my studio now is teaching.
Oh, that's amazing.
So in Lagos now, there are so many studios. And
I wanted to talk. There's a Pilates studio on every corner in Lagos.
There really is. But I think the good news is, Abby, and I used to be, and not recently, but in the past, when the first one opened up, I was like, oh, you get worried because this is a small town.
You mean for competition?
Yeah, of course. You're like, are all my clients going to leave? But I think the truth is there is absolutely enough business for everybody. And I think that's really important. And I also think it's nice that there's everybody's doing Pilates. I think any promotion about Pilates is great, as long as you're being taught well by people that have been trained well.
Right.
Because, if you're not being taught by people that haven't been trained well, there is a risk of injury, of course.
Of course.
And then that gives Pilates a bad name. And then that starts to upset me. But as long as everybody's being taught well they're doing Pilates, and that's a great thing.
It's funny you say that about the other, the first time another Pilates studio opens, or the first time, because obviously for our businesses, we have restaurants.
Yeah.
We constantly have competition.
Yes, exactly.
There's restaurants everywhere. And also there's other burger spots like Nanaba. There's other brunch places that have opened, so many of them. But it's really funny because I think I've learned, because I had the same thing. When the first time brunch place is open, you're like, oh my gosh. Or the first time another burger place is open, you're like,
and
what are we going to do?
So many trendy cafes opening.
So many, yeah. But it's so interesting because I would say even just recently in the last 2 or 3 years, at first it's so easy to get lost in looking what everyone else is doing because you're so worried about what you're doing. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And I've learned, especially the last 2 years, I just really don't look, and I keep my head down and I keep going forward. I'm always trying to modernize it, better it. How can I optimize it? How can I make everyone happy? How can the staff be okay? How can I make my team better?
Yeah.
How can I make the business better in general? And I think Sam and I are both always doing that. And I always think I think we've done leaps and bounds even faster because we're so in our own worlds and our own bubbles that we're not looking around at what's going on. And when something else does happen and something exciting, we're almost excited because when we keep our heads down and we're always bettering, and someone else is also doing it, it raises the bar for everybody. And I think that's just good.
Yeah, it's positive.
It's good for us, but it's also good for clients. It's good for the people.
Because actually, if there wasn't competition, we would just all sit on our laurels and
completely,
and then everything would remain the same.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good. And actually, traveling and seeing new places, new restaurants, and the studios I went to on holiday have got really different. They're just all reformer, all matte studios in where I was in Lombok. But it was really good to kind of see just that side of a business, and it gave me tons of ideas as to what I want to do next. And some of those ideas can be tiny ideas like getting new socks, or
completely
tiny things, or a little bit of signage that's going to make the studio just look a bit nicer.
But this
tiny thing,
those small things, I think, also what make the difference. We do that for our businesses constantly. Whenever we travel, we have a list of places that we have to hit because we just want to try them. We're so excited. I went to London with my mom last month for Wimbledon. I went to Wimbledon.
Told me.
I know, I had so much fun. So it was my second time, but it was her first time. Yeah. But it's funny you say that about the going to try new things at cafes and restaurants and things, because I was in London. I told my mom, I have these cafes I just want to try. I want to go here for brunch. I want to go here for coffee. I want to try this and all these things. And so we were doing that. And little things like, oh, this is a cool way to put your menu, or things to put your check in. Little things like that. But also, I think it also makes you really appreciate your own business. Yes. Because there's things where I was like, wow, we're doing this so much better. And I'm in London, and what we're doing in Portugal is better. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I feel like we're in this little small corner of the world, so it shouldn't be as nice as a New York or a London. And the fact that when there is little things that I'm like, oh, we're doing this really well, that makes me proud of what we're doing back here.
I know, I love that. I've come back with a huge list.
Of course. Yeah. That's my favorite part. My favorite part is coming and so motivated to
and
get
also
it done.
You come back. Yes, exactly. You come back refreshed
and so excited to get back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that way every time I travel. So why are you in Lagos, Portugal? Lisa, how did you get here? I want to know how you got here from all these, you've lived everywhere. I didn't even know you lived in all those places as a child. And UK, California, and now Portugal. So how did Portugal come?
I think there was always something in us that wanted to be somewhere with good weather where we could live a more outdoorsy life. But kind of our life went back to normal in terms of jobs and everything else. I went back into tech when we moved back to the UK, and life just kind of went on. And Tom, who now has an events company here, he set up an events company there. And so we just, what it's like, you just kind of get into your rhythm, and we ended up back in the UK for a while. But Tom's parents and Tom used to come on holiday to Bagao every year, as when he was a child.
And we live in Bagao. You live in Bagao.
Yes.
I live in Bagao.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Which is actually funny. It's right outside of Lagos.
Yeah. And so Tom's parents found a little cottage in Bagao for sale, and they wanted to buy it and refurbish it, but they couldn't afford to do all of it. So we went in halves with them.
Okay.
And so we had this little cottage in Bagao, that we rented out. And then when I had Lily, which was now just over 17 years ago, we came here for my maternity leave.
Oh, that's
And
nice.
so we realized that winter, that there were other people our age, other people with children that were the same age as Lily as a baby, and realized that it was actually a possibility that we could actually do this. And by then, I'd already done my Pilates qualification. Although I wasn't teaching full time, I knew that it was something that I could transition to. And we knew that Tom's business would be movable. And so we kind of did the pros and cons, and then the pros outweighed the cons. And when we went back to the UK, we put the house on the market. And it took us a little while because I actually got pregnant between like the thought of moving. And so we decided that we would have Noah.
Your second, yeah.
Yeah. And so we moved here when Noah was 12 weeks old.
Wow, he was that young.
Yeah.
So you really just had him, and
We
then
do,
left.
yeah. We just stayed. Really, we just stayed to have him.
Yeah.
Because by then I'd finished my job and everything.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's how we ended up here. It was just the
Amazing.
place that we knew.
And so, did you stay in the cottage when you moved here?
So we stayed in the cottage,
Okay.
and then and now Tom's parents own the cottage and they live in it.
Yeah, that's so
So,
nice. I know I see them sometimes.
Yeah. So they're there, which is really nice. And then we don't live too far away. We're obviously
Up the hill.
another
up the street,
5 minutes to the west, basically.
And so you moved. So when you moved, it was kind of an easy decision. It was like, this is easy. This is what we want. We have kids.
Yeah, it was an easy decision. And I think my parents, well, my mum, who was, so she moved here the year before.
So they were here already.
Well, they were here. So my
that.
stepdad and her had moved the year before because they'd also stayed in the cottage. And my stepdad always wanted to move to the sun. And I think when my mum realized that we were going to move, it was a no-brainer that we would all move. But they just managed to get it done quicker than we did. They didn't sell everything. We obviously had a business to sell. We had the house to sell. So we had
to mobilize two more people as well. Two more little people.
A lot more to do, I suppose. So we all ended up here. But yeah, my mum thought we were absolutely bonkers because she thought that it was a retirement community.
Of course. Well, to be honest, it kind of was a retirement community.
15 years ago,
it was a retirement community.
I mean, we had, and really my group of friends there when we moved here consisted of probably 6 families.
Of course, which I think you're still close with today. Yeah, right? The same families that have been here for ages.
Yeah. So there's all of those guys, and then there's obviously all the people that have come since.
Come and go.
And now, as you know, it's just like, this is the place to be.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And now I go to the school gate and I don't recognize anybody, and there's all these like tiny tots and
it's
like
young people with small kids, older kids, teenage kids in droves from the UK, from America, from Canada, from Sweden, from everywhere. I mean, it's crazy how many people now live in Lagos is a place where you live all year now.
So I'm really pleased that you were
one of the originals.
That we did it.
Are you happier with the way your lifestyle here, and also with like your kids? Did you feel like it was a good place to raise your kids?
I think it was a really good place to raise the kids. I think the problems start now, like at this kind of late teens age, is to what they want to do with their life. They can either end up in the tourist industry, which they may or may not want to do.
Which is kind of your only option.
Yeah, which is kind of the only option.
Not your only option, but the biggest one.
Yeah, it is. And I think there are more job opportunities opening now.
Yeah.
Or they go off and they discover something else for a bit, and then they can come back and they can start their own businesses and their own lifestyle here. So Lily, my daughter, has she's gone back to the UK to do her A-levels, and I think she thought the grass would be greener
over there.
England was going to be amazing for her, and don't get me wrong, she's loving it and loved it so far, but it's made her realize how much more chilled it is here. Having grown up as children, they're given a lot more freedom than English kids. And I don't mean that in that we'll just let them go out and do whatever. I mean in the fact that they have much more of an outdoor adventurous lifestyle.
Yeah.
And this sitting around in your houses because it's raining is not that much fun. You know, the weather makes a huge difference.
I mean, every English person I've ever met has said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so she's really realized how lucky she is. And I think she also realized we have quite a good relationship with our children because we've spent so much more time with them.
That's something that I feel so lucky for us.
So
Someone I get time with our kids.
Yeah.
I love it so much. Yeah.
So there's lots of things to be incredibly grateful for.
It also must be nice for her to come home.
Yes.
You know, she must miss home.
Yeah, she loves coming home.
Yeah.
And I think actually children have a much harder choice now. And, you know, it's more and more discussed that actually going on to university and getting into debt and all those things may not be the right thing to do. And
so true.
So I think this generation now are faced with a really tough decision. I don't think it's easy to be that age now.
No.
For us, like it was just like that's what we did.
Well, that was just what you're supposed to do.
And that's what and then we came out of it, and we bought a house because we were able to, and now there's it's
not like that anymore.
It's not like that anymore. So yeah, that's what worries me more. It's more about like them being able to go on to do something that affords them the lifestyle that they've kind of grown accustomed to.
Yeah, having a university degree is not what it used to be anymore.
Yeah.
It's funny. There's this saying that's like, like, oh, what do you want your kids to be older? And parents almost always say, happy.
Yeah.
That's all.
It's so true.
Yeah, so true. So how long were you here then? So you moved here in 2011.
Yes.
11.
Yes, 2011.
And then how long were you here until you opened your studio?
We started working on a location literally immediately.
Okay.
So we moved in the September and it officially opened in May.
The following year?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
On May the 4th.
So May the 4th be with you. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And it started with a mat class with 2 people in it.
You have to start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you book out your mat classes and you can't get in anymore.
Yeah. So you do. It's like baby steps, isn't
it? And it's grown so much because you've now had I went to your old location, obviously, 10 years ago, and now you have this new location. It's grown so. I mean, I think the Pilates room has grown so much.
Yeah, and grown. I'd say grown quite organically as well. Like even when I was in the old studio, like I had one reformer in the beginning, and then I was like, oh, I think I might need another one, and so it's like then another bit of equipment came in, and then another bit of equipment came in. And then when we moved to the bigger location, obviously I had to kit that out a little bit more.
Yeah.
But then that's growing as well now, just in terms of, now starting the reformer classes, for instance. Right. But what I don't want to lose, like there's the classes, there's the group classes, and I absolutely know there's a requirement for it. But there's also a real need for people that have such individual requirements. So it's really important for me to keep that as well, that we keep the private sessions going with all of the equipment and not trying to move it to just a group class scenario.
I mean, I think that's always been your specialty, right?
Yeah.
That's always been, you're kind of known for that as well.
And I think there's also something I want there to be something for everybody. And I want everybody who walks through the door, whether they're, 14 or 84, to feel comfortable. And the ladies that also work in the studio are such great people.
Yeah.
And we look out for each other. For me, my studio is my second home.
Something else that always strikes me really interesting about your studio that I've always thought for years and years is the amount of people from all over the world that come into your studio.
Yes.
Maybe every studio is like that. I don't know. But you have obviously a lot of English speaking people, I should say. But you have so many other people, French and Italian, and so many people that come in. And so, what's that like dealing with people from all different cultures that come in the studio? Because you're talking with people that come from different places, different languages, different needs, different expectations.
Yeah. Yes, you're absolutely right. People
Yeah.
do have different expectations. I think we've just got used to that over time. Do you know what? I don't see people as have been from different countries anymore.
I have the same thing. I'm always like, oh, I'm just so used to it that it just doesn't even affect me anymore.
It doesn't. I don't even think about it actually. What I do think about is the fact that we don't tend to have we don't have a huge Portuguese community in my studio, but I also recognize that there's Portuguese teachers out there that have their own studios. And so I think for them to be taught in their own language is absolutely, essential if that's what they want. And for me, if a Portuguese person comes into the studio, yes, I could get by teaching them. But do I think they could be taught better by a Portuguese speaking teacher? Yes. So I would always then refer them on to another studio.
Yeah.
So,
I think you have a niche though. You have a niche.
Yeah.
Your niche is a market, maybe an expat market or a market
Yeah,
of people
I think
who
so.
are. You also have a gift of connecting with people from all over. And you and I have talked about this also offline. That Lagos is such a transient place. We've talked
Yeah.
about this with everyone who lives here long term. I would say for over 5 years.
Yeah.
People come and they go, and they come and they go, and you make friends, and then they're
they
gone.
go. Yeah.
They're here for 2 years, 3 years, and then you're like, I invested all this time.
I know. And actually you feel a bit annoyed at times when people leave, because you're like, I've literally given my heart and soul to you. Yeah. And now you're leaving me.
And you're leaving me. And I thought we were going to be friends. And you're just it's true though. You get almost, but then you kind of almost stop doing it for a while. I think you become.
Well, I think I definitely went through a phase of that.
Yeah.
Of like not making such a great effort with people that when they first moved here, until I
make sure
really
they're going to be here
that
for a
they
long
were going to
time,
stay, or that I really liked them.
Yeah. But Lisa, I have to say also, if anyone listen, I'm just going to give you an example of who Lisa is, because I'll never forget, because I talk about this all the time. But Lisa, I had my second,
yeah.
And I had it was a whole thing. And she was born 2 months early, and she was in an incubator, and it was very scary. And I had blood transfusions, and it was very, very, very scary for the both of us. And after I was in the hospital for a while after, and then I was finally released, but my daughter was going to be there for another month. But I remember, and Lisa was really one of my only friends who had been consistent, who had been here. And you took someone I to dinner. Do you remember you and Tom took us to dinner right after we got out of the hospital? And I remember thinking, I'm not going. I can't think about going anywhere other than out of this hospital.
Yes.
Like, I just can't function. And I remember you guys took us to dinner, and I remember how much that meant everything to me. Like, it meant the whole world to me, to Samuel, both of us. I was like, someone wants to take us to dinner? Like, I almost didn't want to go. And my mom came over, to help us.
Yes.
And she said, go, you need to get out of this.
Out of this bubble.
Yeah. And it was just the best, kindest, most generous thing.
We should do more of that now.
Yeah, well, we've been saying that since I think 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah, but that was
a crazy time. Yeah.
That was a crazy time. And then you still had a third.
And then I had a third, I know. My mom never forgave me for that. She's like, you're putting me through this again.
Well, actually, what I should say about you, Abby, when you had Arlo, what people need to know about Abby is when she had her first child, she was so wanting him to sleep that she had her mum climbing through windows to get in the house.
She had to climb through the bathroom window because the only blackout curtains we had were in the one room that we did. And my son would not sleep. Arlo didn't sleep. He would sleep more than 45 minutes, even at night.
But it is crazy what you do
to get them to sleep.
I did crazy stuff too. So,
oh my God.
But it does make me laugh.
I look back at it and I'm like, I can't believe I did that to my mom.
And whenever I see your mum, even now, I think about her climbing through the bathroom window.
Lisa, I always end the podcast though with the same few questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask you. So first question I want to ask you, because I do love to ask everyone this, but what advice would you give to somebody who, let's say they want to move to Portugal or move to Lagos, or let's say they just want to leave wherever they are and they want to move to a different country? What advice would you give them that helped you truly kind of do it?
I think you've just got to do it and do it properly. Don't just pretend to do it. So we sold up everything to do it, so it wouldn't be easy to move back. Even when it feels difficult, anywhere you go, and everybody needs to know this before they move here, you go to any department, the finances, the camera, wherever you go, and you think you've got everything, and then they send you home for that one more bit of paper, and then you go back with that one more thing, and then they send you back again for one more thing, and this can go on for days and days. So there are moments where you think, is this worth it? But it is worth it. And if you're still feeling that way, I think after a year or two, then maybe move back. But if you're feeling that at 6 months, you have to give it a year. But you've got to do it properly. Would be my
sell everything and move.
Yeah, I think so. And know what you're going to do. Obviously, I think you can't just move here. If you need to earn a living, you need to have a plan.
Okay, so I have one more question. Yeah. Okay, so for your long weekend, you have to go away somewhere in Portugal. You want to get away for a long weekend or go somewhere. What is your favorite place in Portugal that you just love to go?
We love to go up on the west coast to Vila Nova de Milfont.
Vila Nova Milfont, okay.
Yeah, that's really nice. And there's lots of places to go from there as well. Yeah, that's a really cool place to go.
So that's what you would do.
That would be to just pop to, I suppose. I mean, Porto is amazing.
I know, I love Porto.
That's incredible. But I also love Lisbon. I mean, there's not we don't have a favorite. What we always do for our wedding anniversary, and we've done this every year since
April
we've been here, April 13th.
It's the day before my birthday, and you always post it, and I never forget.
Is we go to Sagres.
Oh, but Sagres is the best.
Yeah. And we always have a really good night out there. And we more than often take our bikes with us. Sometimes we've cycled there and cycled home.
Yeah.
But often we'll take our bikes there and we'll plan on doing a big long ride. And then we just have too much of a party. And then can't. And then the bikes
they can't bike at home.
Then the bikes end up staying on the roof of the car.
But that's also a great anniversary treat every year.
Yeah. But we do that every year. But next year is our 25th wedding anniversary. So we're going to go further afield than Sagres.
Okay. Okay, then I have one last question.
Yes.
Sorry, you just gave me another question. What is the secret to 25 years of marriage? Selma and I have 11 in October.
Friendship, I would say. And always make sure you make time for each other. And don't get me wrong, there's been years where we haven't been able to do that because that's not always that easy to do. Yeah. And they're probably the years when you feel most disconnected. And also when you feel like you're having a wobble, it's actually probably not a wobble forever. We just all have little wobbles. It's going to be in 25 years of friendship, there'll be a wobble. So 25 years of living in each other's pockets, having children, having, financial worries, having parental worries, whatever worry it may be, that's going to impact your relationship. But actually, you always have to remember who you were when you first got together, I think.
That's great advice, Lisa.
So that would be that's my pearls of wisdom. Nice.
Well, this was so much fun, Lisa. I could sit here for hours with you. I have 1,000 more questions, so we'll have to wait for another time.
Yes.
Pearls of wisdom from Lisa Longhurst.
Thanks, Abby.
Thanks, Lisa.
Nice to see you.
It was nice to see you too. So I hope everyone enjoyed this episode with Lisa Longhurst. Some key takeaways from this episode is, it's so funny listening to her as such a fitness guru in her space, talking about how she's had to accept being, the way she is. We all go through that. I think that's so relatable. I think also she touched on the spiritual side, which of course I always find fascinating. Everyone's going through their own journeys of whatever it is in life, but maybe keep your eye out for some signs. Lisa had her own signs. And lastly, Lisa said, go all in. That was her advice for anyone looking to move, to do anything, to make a change. Go all in. If you're going to do it right and go all in with everything. So I hope everyone enjoyed this and see you soon. Déjà.